So I want to just kind of go over how we use the CBCT for root canals. This particular patient is having irreversible pulpitis that's been diagnosed clinically and radiographically, as well as with the CT on tooth number 3. He had a crown place. It was deep based on the previous progress notes. So what I like to do is there's 3 areas on the CBCT. You have the axial view, you have the coronal view, you have the 3-dimensional view, and the 4th view is actually the sagittal view. So I go right to the axial view, and if you use your mouse and double click your mouse, it pulls up that image. And then I like to go right down to the apices and see how many canals we have. So on this one, you can see a distal buccal, a palatal, and a mesial buccal 1 and a mesial buccal 2. So there's an MB2 canal on this. That's why it's really important to use your CBCT. You can see how the MB2 canal actually stops about halfway into the MB1. So it's only going the half the distance. So when we notice that, we can measure this. And what's nice is if we go and double click this again, we can pull up the measurements for this patient, and we can see the curvature of the canal, and we can go right into the curved portion right up here, and we can actually measure the distance on the canals for this patient. So we'll go through and get all the measurements on this patient as far as the canals, and actually in volume rendering right now, and I can actually measure these canals more accurately. If I want to go the distal buccal, I can see it's got a little extension there, and I go right down to the apice, and this is 22 millimeters. I'm going to do the same thing for each of the canals. What's also nice about this is I can actually cut out this particular tooth like this, and I can just see that tooth and just kind of move it right around and see what the canals look like, how curved they are. What's also nice, I can actually cut right down the center of the canal, and I can look through the top and see what those canals look like. And I can see where the actual, if I switch to bone, where the actual MB2 canal stops. And you can see it stops pretty quick. The canal stops right there. So I'm going to show you going over to the patient now with this information.